going to set up with the club with only the toe touching the ground. It just has less surface area to mess up basically. And we're going to choke down onto the steel of the club. And then we're gonna treat it as a one lever motion, just like our putting stroke. One lever being there's no hinging or folding of any elbows or wrists. It's gonna try to be as one lever as possible. That kind of looks like a putting stroke. You want to always feel as though your weight is stacked on your front foot. A good drill when chipping is to kind of do the flamingo deal. Try to get stationary on your left foot and just get comfortable with that. The reason for that is that it stacks your weight on the left side, so it promotes more of a descending blow. If we're stacked on our right foot, there's going to be a tendency to hit down back behind the ball more than we want to. And then you got to make a decision. Are you going low or are you going high? If you're going high, you want to have the ball off of your left foot. That'll prop it up in the air a little bit more. If you're going low, you want to play it off of your right foot. That'll knock it down a little bit more and you'll hit a lower shot. Where people get into trouble is when they're in no man's land. If you're in the middle of the stroke and you can't decide if you're going high or low, then you're going to make little manipulations that just make it unnecessarily complicated. The point of the highlighter is to set up with the club. We can see that the highlighter's kind of aiming at the target, and on our backswing we kind of want to paint this orange line with the highlighter. As soon as we get this thing up in the sky or down at the ground too much, we know that we've over manipulated the club. So you want to kind of just play around with this thing until you can feel like you keep the same loft on the club the whole time. You just turn your body, and it's just a very small motion. So it's just a little nice reminder of how to keep the club face. They call it passive or neutral. Just keep it looking at the target as long as possible. That way you don't have to rely on timing as much. We're gonna come and have you guys hit some chips, and I'm gonna watch you guys work on these things. But before that, I want to explain the rule of 12 a little bit. I've got some clubs set out, and you're going to chip with some unconventional clubs. That over there is a chip with a 3-iron, and most of y'all probably wouldn't be doing that, but the point is that you can make a smaller swing that's more predictable in certain situations and use some strange clubs that are going to get you closer to the hole, because you don't have to make as big of a swing and bring in as many variables. So the rule of 12 is a little bit of thinking, but not too bad. The first step is find where on the green you want to land the ball. And today, for instance, there's like a little bit of sand or thatch or something on the greens. So I tried to get us pretty good ways on to the green, so where we find a little bit of grass. And then you're going to count how many units from our starting point to where we want to land it. So it's 1, 2, 3 units. So that's our base unit is 3. Okay, how many base units of 3 do we have between our landing point and the hole? 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. That's about 1.5. So then it brings in, usually you want to go and trend towards the lower club if you're on 1.5. But there's a little bit of artistry in this. Since we're a little bit uphill, the 1.5 should round up to 2. 2 minus 12 in the rule of 12 gives us a 10-iron. So one more than a 9-iron would be your pitching wedge. So long story short, if we hit this pitching wedge with the toe down putting stroke motion, where we keep the grooves of the club looking at our target line the whole time and land it somewhere near our ideal landing spot, it should go pretty close to the hole. So I was a little past the hole, or a little past my landing spot, and it went a little past the hole. Let's see if I hit one just a little bit short of my landing spot, and it should be just a little short of the hole. More or less right on it. Good. Yep. Right on the money. Excellent. Perfect. It's not an exact science, but the rule of 12 is great because it gets you to commit to a club.
Okay.
A lot of times if you've got these things where it's sort of iffy, it's like, oh, I could putt it, I could pitch it, could chip it. At least it gives you some sort of educated guess of where you want to fly this ball to get it close to the hole. Just kind of try to paint that orange line going back off the ball without hitting anything. We're going to set up there. and feel like you keep that orange line in line with the highlighter for this small little pitching, actually chipping motion. Okay, good. Yep, turn your chest, the club face stays the same. Excellent, all right, that's all it is.
Okay.
Trade you.
It's down in the hole.
Good technique, we're just laying slightly short of the target. Now keep the same technique, but just do the whole general motion a little faster pitch for putting motion. Excellent. Ooh, best one yet. Good.
All right.
Excellent. Be satisfied with that one in a round, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Excellent.
That's pretty good.
That's
Oh,
the
there's
one.
that That was good.
Excellent. All right, we got one more station, then we'll do a little contest. One, with the base unit of one. How many ones are there between our landing spot and the hole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 less 5 gives us a suggested 7-iron. So if we get this 7-iron to our spot there, should be somewhere close. Oh,
All right.
congrats.
Get on. Yeah.
All right. Let's see this bad boy, then we'll have our contest. Good.
Yeah.
Your misses should get a little smaller, in theory. Excellent. Bazinga. Oh,
Maybe it hits the-
that jumbo grip is like Dikembe Mutombo down there. You kind of want the club to be straight up and down, so you don't have a lot of forward shaft lean. That way, you know that you're putting the natural loft on the club at address. Good.